Cries of joy, smiles, tears of happiness. The 20 Israeli hostages held in the Gaza Strip were reunited with their loved ones on Monday. They were released by Hamas as agreed under the ceasefire agreement between the Palestinian Islamist movement and the Jewish state.
I'm so excited. We see Elkanah in video FaceTime. My sister talked with him, and he's very excited. And she says, on the feet, and he smiled. And she said, tell her, Mom, I'm okay.
The hostages, divided in two groups, were first handed over to the Red Cross and then to the Israeli army before being reunited with their families. This reunion marks the end of 738 days of captivity for the hostages and just over 2 years of anguish for their families since the attack of October 2023. For Israel, these releases are a fundamental step, but they do not mark the full implementation of the ceasefire agreement. The Jewish state is still waiting for the return of the remains of 28 deceased hostages.
Israel began releasing hundreds of Palestinians on Monday as part of the ceasefire deals signed between Israel and Hamas. The freed Palestinians were met by cheering crowds in Beit Dunya in the West Bank. The prisoner's office confirmed at least one bus also crossed into the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians left earlier on Monday from Ofer prison when an armoured vehicle flying an Israeli flag had fired tear gas and rubber bullets at a crowd awaiting the release of the prisoners. Shortly before the release, flyers were circulating stating that anyone supporting, quote, terrorist organizations risked arrest. Israel's military has not commented on the flyers. As part of the ceasefire agreement, Israel will release more than 1,900 prisoners in return for the remaining hostages held by Hamas. 250 of those held by Israel were serving life sentences for convictions in attacks on Israelis, and 1,700 were seized from Gaza in the past 2 years and held without charge.
For the US administration, the ceasefire agreement in Gaza is the first step towards lasting peace in the Middle East. According to Massad Boulos, a senior US advisor responsible for Arab affairs, there is no doubt that the text approved by Israel and Hamas is historic.
This is an absolute final peace agreement. And as the president said, it's not only about Gaza, but it's the future of the Middle East. And he's looking forward for a lasting and comprehensive peace.
However, there are still some grey areas in the US peace plan. Details are lacking regarding the disarmament of Hamas and its future role in the Gaza Strip. There is also no clarity regarding the possibility of a two-state solution.
So this is something that will be discussed with time. As you know, there are different phases. The first one had to do with the ceasefire, the release of hostages and exchange of prisoners, and withdrawal of troops to a certain agreed line. There will be other phases that will come along.
For now, Massad Boulos insists that this peace agreement has the support of the international community.
Polish prosecutors have charged 2 Russian citizens for spying for Russian intelligence, prosecutors said on Monday. One of them, who is referred to as Igor R., was additionally charged with acting jointly with 3 other suspects in sending a parcel containing explosives. In July last year, a series of parcel fires targeting courier companies took place in Poland, Germany, and the UK. Western officials blamed the incidents on the Kremlin. Moscow has repeatedly denied such allegations, despite a slew of evidence in court cases proving otherwise.
The Dutch government has taken control of Chinese-owned semiconductor manufacturer Nexperia, based in the Netherlands, deploying a rarely used emergency statute to head off what it called risk to Dutch and European economic security. According to a statement, the decision aims to prevent a situation in which finished and semi-finished products produced by Nexperia would become unavailable in an emergency. The Goods Availability Act enables the state to block or reverse corporate decisions at the firm while allowing day-to-day production to continue. The move underscores a broader European shift toward using national security tools to control ownership and decision-making in sensitive tech supply chains. The action is also the latest flashpoint in Western efforts to shield semiconductor ecosystems amid intensifying US-EU export controls and investment screening targeting China.
US President Donald Trump said he could send long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. He talked about this on Air Force One on his way to the Middle East. But he emphasized that first he planned to discuss the matter with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I might say, look, if this war's not going to get settled, I'm going to send them Tomahawks. I may say that. The Tomahawk is an incredible weapon, very offensive weapon. And honestly, Russia does not need that. They don't need that.
Zelensky expressed his hopes that the American president will exert a pressure on Russia as strong or even stronger than the one he exerted to achieve peace in the Middle East.
Детально працюємо з Америкою, щоб посилити нас, нашу ППО, усі наші можливості захисту. Петріоти, передусім, інші системи, також наші активні дії, нашу далекобійність. Ми бачимо та чуємо, що Росія боїться. Що американці можуть дати нам томагавки – це сигнал, що саме такий тиск може спрацювати для миру.
For his part, Putin has previously suggested that the United States supplying long-range missiles to Ukraine would seriously damage relations between Moscow and Washington. Trump has taken a tougher stance with Putin in recent weeks after the Russian leader has declined to engage in direct talks with Zelensky on a ceasefire.
Я провів в полоні 3 роки, а саме 1111 днів. Момент обміну, та й після цього я не відчував взагалі нічого, тому що за той час перебування в полоні нас змушували блокувати всі емоції, які в нас тільки є.
Війна, яких зруйнувала їхній мозок, розірвала їхні нейронні зв'язки, знищила їхні нейрони. І сьогодні ми маємо знаходити як найоптимальніші, і найякісніші, і найпростіші інструменти, які б відновлювали цю нейропластичність і нейрогенез.
It's really fantastic for young people that there's a lot of job opportunities to build quantum. I mean, this was kind of unheard of when I was being a student. And this is really nice. And all I can say is, if you're interested in it, join a good group. And generally people get their PhD, but we have non-PhDs that contribute greatly to our company. So, one particular person has a background in computer science, does all our networking and contributes fantastically to it with his own skills that we don't have.
Nous déclarons Lumière 2025, le Festival des Cinémas de Lyon, ouvert.
Well, I can tell you what made me fall in love with French cinema. Jean-Pierre Melville's Le Samurai. And
that was mine.
Was it?
Yeah.
The work of William Friedkin for me.
Yeah.
Michael Mann.
Yeah.
Terrence Malick.
I have this soft spot for gangster movies. I think Goodfellas, Godfather 2. I think it's appropriate to mention Heat. I've seen that a lot. I think to smuggle human character studies like these films I'm mentioning into American genre movies fascinates me. And I will also say, I think Paul Thomas Anderson's most recent film, One Battle After Another, that's one I'm going to watch a lot, again and again, I think. To be quite frank, I'm here because of Sean, because he just introduced my film and has spread his love for sentimental value. So we spent all last night together, and I'm a huge fan of Sean Penn. Yeah, I think he's a wonderful actor.
Oh, well, I didn't know, he didn't explain to me how big this situation was. I heard my name a lot tonight, but I've been very comfortable with it in the sense that knowing Cuckoo's Nest was going to play, there was no question I was going to be able to find great humility under the circumstances. One of the great magic moments in my life in cinema was the first time I saw Jack Nicholson in Milos Forman's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Merci à tous, bon festival.